The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Mars wasn't usually a place of excitement. Most days, technician Tom Parker just watched the endless stream of data flow across his screens, tracking the usual asteroids and space debris. But today was different. "Sir, you need to see this," Tom called out to his supervisor, pointing at the strange energy readings appearing on his monitor. The patterns were unlike anything he had seen before, powerful waves of energy pulsing from the edge of the solar system. Within hours, every major space agency on Earth was buzzing with activity. The United Space Command's headquarters in Geneva turned into a hive of urgent meetings and rapid communications. Something big was happening beyond Neptune's orbit, and humanity needed to respond. Captain James Miller stood at the bridge of the rescue vessel, Horizon, Earth's most advanced space rescue ship. He was chosen for this mission because of his calm thinking and years of experience saving stranded crews from the Mars and Jupiter colonies. "Captain, we're picking up a signal," his communications officer reported. It's not one of ours. The pattern is too complex, too precise." Miller leaned forward in his chair. After years of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, first contact was happening during a rescue mission. The irony wasn't lost on him. The signal kept repeating, a mathematical sequence that could only be artificial. As the Horizon pushed deeper into the outer solar system, more signals appeared. They weren't just random calls for help. They were carefully designed patterns meant to catch attention. "Visual contact in 3 minutes," the pilot announced. The crew held their breath as they approached the source of the signals. What they saw left them speechless. A fleet of massive ships, unlike anything humans had built, hung motionless in space. Their sleek designs and smooth surfaces showed technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. But something was wrong. The ships were trapped, caught in what looked like a ripple in space itself. "It's some kind of gravitational anomaly," the science officer explained, checking her instruments. "The space around them is twisted. They're stuck in it like flies in honey." Miller ordered the Horizon to move closer, but carefully. The alien ships were enormous, each one bigger than the largest cities on Earth. Their hulls shimmered with a metallic rainbow effect that seemed to shift and change as the Horizon's lights touched them. The first images were sent back to Earth, and the world watched in amazement. Humanity's first contact with alien life wasn't a peaceful meeting of diplomats or a hostile invasion. Instead, they had found a powerful civilization in need of help. "We're getting more signals," the communications officer said. "They're trying different frequencies, different patterns. I think they're trying everything they can to talk to us." Miller made a decision. He ordered his crew to respond using simple mathematical sequences, the universal language of space. Binary codes, prime numbers, and basic equations flowed between the human ship and the alien fleet. Slowly, through numbers and patterns, the story emerged. The aliens called themselves the Stellar Collective. Their ships, despite their advanced technology, had been trapped in this strange patch of space for months. Their powerful engines and energy systems, which used exotic particles unknown to human science, were useless against the anomaly's strange properties. "Their technology is amazing," the engineering chief told Miller, "but sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the right one. They're stuck because their engines are too powerful, too complex. The anomaly feeds off their energy attempts to escape." As the Earth's top scientists studied the problem, Miller couldn't help but smile at the situation. Humanity, often seeing itself as primitive compared to what advanced aliens might be like, now had a chance to prove its worth. Sometimes, being less advanced had its advantages. The rescue mission was just beginning, but already Miller knew this would change everything. Humanity's first step into the galactic community wouldn't be as conquerors or as servants, but as helpers, problem solvers who could think differently than their advanced new allies. "Send word back to Earth," Miller ordered. "Tell them we're going to need every ship, every idea, and every bit of human ingenuity we've got. We're about to show the universe what humanity can do. 3 days after first contact, the Horizon's main conference room became the site of humanity's first real conversation with alien life. Captain Miller sat at one end of the table, facing a holographic projection from the alien flagship. The image showed Admiral Val, the leader of the stellar collective fleet. Val looked almost human-like, but with silvery skin that seemed to ripple like mercury and eyes that glowed with a soft blue light. The Admiral's movements were graceful, almost liquid, as if gravity worked differently for their species. Communication was still a challenge. Both sides had agreed on using mathematics and simple drawings as their common language. On the table between them, a holographic display showed basic shapes and numbers that they used to share ideas. "Their situation is worse than we thought," explained Dr. Emma Ward, the Horizon's chief scientist. She used the hologram to show how the gravitational anomaly was slowly crushing the alien ships. "Their power cores are actually making things worse. The more energy they use, the stronger the anomaly gets." Miller watched as Admiral Val demonstrated their failed escape attempts through the hologram. The alien ships had engines that could bend space itself, technology that should have made this trap impossible. But each time they tried to use their advanced drives, the anomaly grew stronger. "It's like quicksand," Miller said, suddenly understanding. "The more they struggle with their powerful engines, the deeper they sink." Using simple drawings and number sequences, the humans learned that the stellar collective had never encountered anything like this anomaly before. Their civilization had grown so dependent on their advanced technology that they hadn't kept any simpler backup systems. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Bill Thompson, the Horizon's oldest engineer, was drinking his coffee while looking at the problem data. "You know," he said, "sometimes the fancy solution isn't the right one. When my old truck gets stuck in the mud, I don't need a hovercraft. I need a winch and some rope." This simple observation sparked an idea. The humans began explaining their primitive chemical rockets and nuclear engines to the aliens. These simpler technologies didn't interact with the anomaly the same way the alien engines did. They were too basic, too crude to trigger the strange gravitational effects. Admiral Val's expression was hard to read, but the translator programs suggested surprise and confusion in their response. The idea of using such basic technology seemed to challenge everything they believed about space travel. "Look at it this way," Miller explained through diagrams. "Sometimes a hammer is better than a laser, especially when the laser makes your problem worse." The aliens spent hours studying the human ship's designs. Their advanced sensors analyzed every detail of the chemical rockets and nuclear drives. Slowly, understanding seemed to dawn on their faces. The very simplicity of human technology might be the key to their salvation. Working together, human and alien engineers began designing a rescue plan. They would use the Horizon's simple but reliable engines, combined with old-fashioned mechanical principles, to pull the alien ships free one by one. "It's like a space tugboat," Thompson said with a grin. "Nothing fancy about it. Just good old-fashioned pulling power." The plan wasn't without risks. The human ships would have to get dangerously close to the anomaly. One wrong move, and they could be trapped too. But unlike the alien ships, they would still have working engines to try and break free. Admiral Val's final message of the day was simple but clear, a sequence of mathematical symbols that translated to both "thank you" and "we trust you." It was more than just acceptance of help. It was a recognition that advanced technology wasn't always the answer. As the meeting ended, Miller looked at his crew. They had done something remarkable today. They had shown one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy that sometimes the old ways, the simple ways, were still valuable. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "Tell them we need every ship with chemical and nuclear drives. And tell them to bring lots of cable. We're going to tow these ships out the same way we'd rescue a stranded submarine back home." The real work was about to begin, but humanity had already achieved something incredible. They had earned the respect of the stars not through power or advanced technology, but through practical thinking and simple solutions. The largest rescue fleet in human history gathered at the edge of the solar system. Ships from every spacefaring nation on Earth had answered the call. Russian nuclear tugs floated alongside American deep space rescue vessels. Chinese cargo ships carried miles of reinforced cable, while European and Indian vessels brought specialized equipment. Captain Miller stood at the Horizon's observation deck, watching as the 100-strong human fleet took position around the trapped alien ships. Each human vessel looked tiny compared to the massive alien craft, like rowboats next to ocean liners. "It's quite a sight," Engineer Thompson said, joining him at the window. "Never thought I'd see Chinese and American ships working side by side like this. Nothing like a space rescue to bring people together." The rescue plan was simple in theory but incredibly complex in execution. They would attach multiple cables to each alien ship, then pull from different directions using the combined power of several human vessels. The trick was coordinating everything perfectly. Lieutenant Anna Roberts, a young engineer from the Australian Space Agency, had come up with a brilliant addition to the plan. She had designed a pulley system that would multiply the pulling force of the human ships without putting too much strain on any single cable. "Think of it like moving a heavy couch," she explained to the alien engineers through mathematical diagrams. "If you try to lift it straight up, it's almost impossible. But if you use rollers and pull at an angle, suddenly it becomes manageable." The aliens watched with great interest as the humans began setting up the pulley systems in space. Their own technology could bend the fabric of space-time, but they had never considered using such basic mechanical principles for a rescue operation. The first test came with one of the smaller alien ships. 20 human vessels took position around it, their cables attached to strategic points. The pulley systems were ready, looking like giant spider webs in space. "All ships, report ready status," Miller called out over the radio. One by one, the rescue ships confirmed they were in position. "Beginning pull on my mark." Remember, slow and steady wins the race. The human ships fired their engines in perfect coordination. The cables went tight, the pulleys began to turn, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, almost imperceptibly, the alien ship moved. "It's working," Thompson shouted, watching the readings. "The anomaly's not fighting back against our engines. We're actually doing it." The alien vessel slowly began to slide free of the gravitational trap. It took 6 hours of careful pulling, with constant adjustments to keep the forces balanced. But finally, the ship broke free. Cheers erupted across all radio channels as the aliens sent out pulses of light from their ship in celebration. Admiral Val's message was translated quickly. "Your simple machines have achieved what our most advanced technology could not. We are humbled and grateful." But they couldn't celebrate for long. This was just the first ship, and it was one of the smallest. The real challenge would be the massive alien flagship, which was deeper in the anomaly's grip. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Miller reminded his crew. "We've still got 12 more ships to rescue, each one bigger than the last." This was just the warm-up. The rescue fleet regrouped, checking their cables and engines. The human ships might have been simple compared to alien technology, but they were reliable. As long as the engines had fuel and the cables held strong, they could keep pulling. Lieutenant Roberts was already working on adjusting her pulley system for the larger ships. "We'll need to add more connection points," she said, drawing new diagrams, "and maybe use some of the freed alien ships as anchor points for the pulleys." The aliens, who had initially seemed uncertain about trusting their fate to such basic technology, now watched the humans work with obvious respect. They had discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in advanced technology, but in their ability to solve complex problems with simple tools. As the fleet prepared for the next rescue, Miller couldn't help but smile. Humanity was about to show the galaxy that sometimes the oldest solutions were still the best ones. Everything went wrong during the attempt to rescue the alien flagship. The massive ship was deep in the anomaly's grip when the crisis began. Warning alarms blared across every human vessel as their sensors detected a sudden change in the gravitational readings. The anomaly is growing. Dr. Ward's voice cracked with urgency over the radio. It's feeding off the energy from our rescue attempts. Captain Miller watched in horror as the space around them began to twist. The gravitational forces were intensifying, pulling at both human and alien ships with increasing strength. On his main screen, he could see the massive web of cables stretching between the vessels starting to strain. "All ships, full power to engines," he ordered. "We need to hold our position." A sharp crack echoed through space as the first cable snapped. The broken end whipped through the void like an angry snake, narrowly missing 2 rescue ships. Before anyone could react, 3 more cables broke under the enormous pressure. "The flagship's hull is starting to buckle," Engineer Thompson reported, his eyes fixed on the readings. "Their advanced materials can't handle these gravitational stresses. They're breaking apart." Inside the alien flagship, thousands of lives were at stake. Admiral Val's transmission came through in urgent pulses of light. Their internal systems were failing, and their supposedly indestructible hull was cracking under pressures it was never designed to withstand. Lieutenant Roberts' voice cut through the chaos. "The pulley system is still holding on the port side. If we can redistribute the load through the remaining cables." Her words were cut short by another series of snapping sounds. 6 more cables gave way, and the entire rescue network began to unravel. Miller made a split-second decision. "Horizon will move in closer," he announced. "We'll take up the slack from the broken cables." "Captain, that's too dangerous," his first officer protested. "The gravitational forces that close to the anomaly could tear us apart." "We didn't come all this way to watch them die," Miller responded. He turned to his crew. "All non-essential personnel, evacuate to the backup ships. This is volunteer only." Not a single crew member moved to leave their station. The Horizon pushed forward, its engines straining against the increasing gravitational pull. Warning lights flashed across every console as the ship's structure groaned under the pressure. They were operating way beyond safety limits now. Engineer Thompson worked frantically at his station. "We're routing power from life support to the engines," he called out. "We'll have about 30 minutes of air, but we'll get an extra 20% thrust." Outside, space itself seemed to be bending. The stars appeared to stretch and twist around them as the anomaly's effect intensified. More human ships moved in, following the Horizon's lead, their crews refusing to give up despite the danger. "Hull integrity at 60%. Someone shouted. "Engines are overheating," called another. Miller gripped his chair as the ship shuddered violently. "Hold together," he whispered, though whether he was talking to his ship or his crew, even he wasn't sure. Through the chaos, Lieutenant Roberts' voice came over the radio again. She had been running calculations nonstop. "Captain, the anomaly's resonating with our engine frequencies. If we time our engine pulses just right, we might be able to create a counter rhythm." It was a crazy idea, but they were out of options. Miller gave the order, and the human fleet began pulsing their engines in a coordinated pattern, like a massive orchestra playing against the anomaly's deadly symphony. The alien flagship's hull was glowing now, its advanced materials pushed to their absolute limits. But slowly, incredibly, the coordinated engine pulses began to have an effect. The gravitational forces started to fluctuate, creating brief moments of weakness. "Now," Miller ordered, "everything we've got. Full power on my mark." The combined human fleet, their engines pulsing in perfect harmony, gave one final push. Their remaining cables creaked and strained. Their ships' hulls groaned and buckled, but they held together through sheer human determination and engineering. The fate of both human and alien crews hung literally by a thread, balanced between survival and disaster. But humanity wasn't about to let go. Not now. Not when they were so close. The synchronized pulse of 100 human engines created a beautiful pattern of light in the twisted space around them. The Horizon's hull creaked as it led the final push to free the alien flagship. Captain Miller could barely see through the strange distortion of space, but the sensors told him they were making progress. Hull integrity at 40%. Thompson shouted over the noise of straining metal. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." But Lieutenant Roberts' crazy plan was working. The coordinated engine pulses were creating gaps in the anomaly's gravitational grip, like waves in an ocean creating moments of calm between their peaks. "Look," Dr. Ward pointed at her screen. "The flagship. It's moving. Slowly at first, then with gathering speed, the massive alien vessel began sliding free of the anomaly's grasp. The remaining cables held firm, their simple strength proving more reliable than any advanced technology. Human ingenuity, basic physics, and raw determination were accomplishing what seemed impossible. Admiral Val's ship finally broke free with a visible ripple in space, like a cork popping from a bottle. Cheers erupted across every radio channel as the last and largest ship of the stellar collective fleet drifted to safety. The human fleet quickly backed away from the anomaly, their engines still working in harmony, but now in reverse. They didn't stop until they were well clear of the gravitational disturbance. Inside the horizon, the crew slumped in exhaustion. They had pushed their ships and themselves to the absolute limit, but they had succeeded. Not a single alien ship had been lost. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "Admiral Val is requesting permission to dock with us. They want to thank us in person." The meeting took place in the Horizon's main cargo bay, the only space large enough to accommodate the alien representatives. Admiral Val's actual form was even more impressive in person, their silvery skin reflecting the bay's lights like moving mercury. Through their improved mathematical and visual communications, Val expressed not just gratitude, but admiration. The aliens had recorded everything humans had done. From the simple pulley systems to the coordinated engine pulses, they were fascinated by how humans had solved such a complex problem using basic principles of physics. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Thompson said when asked to explain their success. The aliens took special interest in his words, their translators working overtime to understand this simple but profound concept. Admiral Val made a formal gesture, and their assistants brought forward a small device. Through careful demonstration, they showed that it was an invitation, a key to join the stellar collective as full members. Humanity had proven itself not through advanced technology, but through creativity, courage, and determination. But Val wasn't finished. The Admiral had another request. They wanted human engineers and scientists to teach their people about old technology and simple solutions. The Stellar Collective had realized that their complete dependence on advanced technology was a weakness. They needed to learn humanity's way of solving problems. "Imagine that," Miller said to his crew later. "We're going to teach one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy how to use pulleys and levers." The story of the rescue spread quickly across Earth and through the galaxy. Humanity became known as the civilization that saved the mighty Stellar Collective with primitive technology and basic physics. But more importantly, they became known as the species that would risk everything to help others, even complete strangers from the stars. As the Horizon began its journey back to Earth, with the alien flagship flying alongside in honor, Miller looked out at the stars. They seemed different now, knowing that humanity had earned its place among them, not through power or advanced technology, but through the simple strength of human ingenuity and determination. "Send a message to Earth," he told his communications officer. "Tell them to save some of these old ships. Tell them that sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. And tell them—" He smiled, watching the Earth rescue fleet flying proudly alongside their new alien allies. "Tell them that humanity just proved that being less advanced doesn't mean being less capable." The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as the combined fleet headed home, marking the beginning of a new era where humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy would be teaching others that sometimes the simplest answer was the right one. 1 year after the Great Rescue, Earth had changed in ways nobody could have predicted. The sight of alien ships in the sky had become normal, their silvery hulls catching sunlight as they visited various spaceports around the globe. The largest change was visible in the Australian outback, where the first human stellar engineering academy stood against the red desert landscape. It was here that Captain Miller found himself today, watching as both human and alien students learned from each other. Engineer Thompson, now Professor Thompson, was teaching a class about basic mechanics. His students included some of the brightest minds from the Stellar Collective, their mercury-like skin gleaming as they built simple machines with their own hands. "No, no," Thompson said kindly to an alien student who was trying to use an advanced energy tool. "Today we're learning to do it the old way. With these," he held up a wrench and screwdriver. The alien carefully took the tools, seemingly fascinated by their simplicity. In another part of the academy, Lieutenant Roberts, now Dr. Roberts, was explaining her pulley system theory to a mixed class of human and alien engineers. Her simple but brilliant ideas had become the foundation for a whole new field of space rescue techniques. "The key isn't about having the most power," she explained, drawing on a traditional whiteboard instead of using holographic displays. "It's about using the power you have in the smartest way possible." The academy wasn't just teaching aliens about human technology. Humans were learning too. The Stellar Collective shared knowledge about the galaxy, other civilizations, and safe ways to use their advanced technology. But they always remembered the lesson from the rescue. Never rely on advanced systems alone. In orbit above Earth, the Horizon was being refitted. The ship that had led the rescue was now the first of a new class of vessels. It carried both human and alien technology, but more importantly, it carried backup systems for everything. Simple, reliable systems that could work even when the advanced technology failed. Captain Miller walked through the academy's halls, passing workshops where alien students learned about diesel engines, nuclear power, and chemical rockets. In the cafeteria, he saw humans and aliens sharing meals and stories, each learning from the other's perspective. His communicator buzzed, a message from Admiral Val. The Stellar Collective had adopted new protocols based on the rescue incident. Every ship in their fleet now carried human-style backup systems. They had learned that being advanced didn't mean forgetting the basics. The message also included exciting news. The anomaly that had trapped the alien fleet had been fully studied. Scientists discovered it was part of a network of natural space phenomena. Understanding how to navigate these anomalies would open up new paths across the galaxy, paths that would need both advanced technology and simple solutions to travel safely. In the Academy's main hall, Miller stopped to look at a display case. Inside was a piece of the cable that had helped save the alien flagship. Next to it was one of the simple pulleys from Lieutenant Roberts' system. These basic tools, which had helped save an advanced civilization, were now treated like precious artifacts. A group of alien students stopped to look at the display with him. One of them spoke through a translator. "On our world, we had forgotten the beauty of simple solutions. We thought newer always meant better. You humans taught us to remember our foundations." Miller smiled. Humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't just about teaching old technology. It was about showing that progress didn't mean abandoning what worked. It was about remembering that sometimes the simple solution was the elegant solution. As the sun set over the Academy, both human and alien ships moved across the sky. Some used advanced drives that bent space, while others used simple chemical rockets. Both types flew together, a perfect symbol of how the future would combine the best of both worlds, the advanced and the basic, the complex and the simple, working together in harmony. 2 years after the Great Rescue, humanity faced its first major challenge as members of the Stellar Collective. A distress signal reached Earth from a distant mining colony on an ice moon. The advanced mining equipment, designed by the most sophisticated alien engineers, had frozen solid in the extreme cold. Captain Miller, now Admiral Miller, sat in his office at Space Rescue Command, looking at the holographic display of the situation. The mining colony housed both human and alien workers, and their life support systems were failing. "Looks like we need the old Earth approach again," he said, reaching for his communicator. Within hours, He had assembled a familiar team. Engineer Thompson arrived first, his teaching duties at the academy temporarily put on hold. Dr. Roberts followed shortly after, carrying her latest designs for cold weather adaptations of her famous pulley systems. The original Horizon crew was getting back together. The aliens' heating systems are too complex, Thompson explained, studying the colony schematics. They're trying to maintain perfect temperature control across the whole facility. But in these conditions, simple is better. The rescue ship that launched from Earth looked different from the vessels that had saved the alien fleet. It was a hybrid design, combining human and alien technology, but with a crucial difference. Everything had a manual backup. As they approached the ice moon, they could see the mining colony through the swirling snow. The alien architecture looked like crystal spires rising from the white surface, but now those spires were dark and cold. "Reminds me of oil rigs in the Arctic," Thompson said. "We used to keep those running with nothing but diesel engines and determination." The rescue team landed near the colony in the middle of a fierce storm. The alien workers were surprised to see the humans pulling out what looked like ancient equipment: diesel heaters, mechanical pumps, and thick insulated cables. "Sometimes you need technology that can't freeze," Dr. Roberts explained to the colony's alien engineer. "No quantum circuits, no plasma conduits. Just good old-fashioned burning fuel to make heat." The humans worked methodically, setting up their equipment in the bitter cold. They used simple heating systems, the kind that had kept Antarctic research stations running for centuries. The alien workers watched in amazement as these primitive devices began to warm their frozen facility. "Your technology is trying too hard to be perfect," Thompson told the colony's managers as they got the main generators running again. "Sometimes you need systems that are happy to be good enough." The biggest challenge came when they needed to repair the colony's main power core. The alien engineers had tried to fix it with their advanced tools, but the extreme cold made their sensitive equipment useless. Dr. Roberts stepped forward with what looked like ancient technology: a hand-crank generator and basic electrical testing equipment. "Let's do this the old way," she said, beginning a careful diagnostic process that didn't rely on complex computers. Working together, the human and alien engineers found the problem. A simple ice buildup had created a cascade of failures in the advanced systems. The solution wasn't a complex repair, but a basic heating element and a backup power system that could run on simple chemical fuel. As the colony came back to life, the alien workers gathered around the human team. Through their translators, they asked questions about the old technology that had saved them. They were particularly interested in how these simple systems could work in conditions that disabled their advanced equipment. Admiral Miller watched as Thompson began teaching the aliens about backup generators and mechanical heating systems. Dr. Roberts was already drawing diagrams, showing how to create redundant systems using basic principles. "We're not just teaching them old technology," Miller observed. "We're teaching them a way of thinking. Sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one. It's the one that simply works." The rescue mission became another chapter in humanity's growing reputation across the galaxy. They were becoming known not just as the species that saved the stellar collective's fleet, but as the civilization that remembered something many advanced species had forgotten: the value of keeping things simple.